In today's video, we're going to talk about what happens to your body when you quit smoking. Now, if that's not something that interests you or you don't know anybody that smokes, then maybe just skip this video. But if you're curious about what happens to somebody's body when they stop smoking, it might be you, it might be a family member. It might be a friend. Stick around, because today we're going to cover what happens in your body when you stop smoking. I don't even really like the smell of cigarettes or cigars or any of that stuff. So it wasn't a hard decision for me not to start smoking. However, I do know many people that started smoking at some point in their lives and eventually decided to quit. Some did it cold turkey, others slowly tapered down and quit. And in this video, we're going to cover both scenarios. What happens to your body when you do it cold turkey, and what happens to your body when you taper off over time. When you first decide to quit smoking, congratulations. That's a huge first step in improving your overall health. But immediately, probably within the first couple days, you're going to notice that you're going to be feeling a lot more tired. You're going to have less energy, and you're going to feel kind of lethargic. And that's because nicotine is actually a stimulant. So by removing that from your system is actually a stimulant for your body to readjust to not having that extra boost of energy from the nicotine. So it can take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to start feeling back to normal. In fact, there are studies that show that fatigue is one of the top reasons why people relapse and go back to smoking, because they just don't have the energy to deal with everyday life without that extra boost from the nicotine. So my recommendation is to try to get outside, get some fresh air, do some exercise, anything you can to help combat that fatigue during the first couple weeks of quitting. All right, so past those first couple days, what else can you expect? Well, another common side effect when you first stop smoking is you have a lot more cravings. And these cravings can last anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours. They come and they go. And once again, this is because your body is adjusting to not having that nicotine. It's kind of like a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down, right? It's up and down. And those cravings will go away after a couple weeks. So, you'll probably still be feeling tired, but the cravings should subside after about 2 weeks. And then, after about 3 weeks, most people will experience a significant decrease in their cravings. But there's still other things that will happen to your body when you stop smoking. You see, when you're smoking, you're constantly exposing your lungs to all sorts of toxins, which causes inflammation in your lungs and makes them very sensitive. It can take some time for those lungs to heal and recover from all that damage that was done from years of smoking. So, many people report that they wheeze more, they cough more, and they have a lot more lung irritation during the first couple months after they stop smoking. However, the good news is that most of these symptoms should subside after about 4 months. So, if you can get through the first 4 months, you should notice that you're breathing much easier and you're not. All right, so besides breathing, what else can you expect when you stop smoking? Your sense of taste and smell will probably improve. Do you remember that episode of Friends where Monica got pregnant and she lost her sense of smell and taste? Well, that could happen to you when you re-smoking because the chemicals in the cigarette smoke can really mess with your sense of taste and smell. So, when you stop smoking, it can take a little while for those senses to come back. So, everything starts tasting better, everything starts smelling better, and you can notice that shortly after you stop smoking, another thing that happens to your body when you stop smoking is your heart rate will start to improve. So, when you were smoking, your heart rate was probably elevated because, once again, nicotine is a stimulant. It pumps up your adrenaline. It pumps up your heart rate. Well, now that you've stopped smoking, it's going to take a little while for that heart rate to return to normal. However, after about 4 months, you should notice that your resting heart rate has dropped back down to normal. All right, so let's say you've made it past that 4-month mark. Congratulations! Most of the bad stuff should be behind you at this point. And what else can you expect? Well, your skin should start looking better. You should notice less wrinkles, less dry skin, less blotchy skin. Why? Because the chemicals in cigarettes have been shown to cause your skin to age faster, and they prevent your skin from getting enough oxygen, which is vital for healthy skin. So, after you stop smoking, it can take a little while for your skin to get all the oxygen it needs. But after about 6 months, you should notice a big improvement in your skin. But what about cancer? Does your risk of cancer go down when you stop smoking? Well, yes, but it doesn't happen overnight. In fact, the American Cancer Society recommends that you continue to be smoke-free for at least 10 years in order to lower your risk of developing lung cancer and other smoking-related cancers. However, the good news is that if you've been smoking for many years, quitting can actually prolong your life by several years. So, if you have been smoking for many years, even if you start in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, it's never too late to quit. And the sooner you quit, the longer you're going to live. In fact, there is data that shows that people who start smoking in their 60s and then quit in their 60s can add 2 to 3 years onto their life. People who start smoking in their 70s and then quit in their 70s can add 3 to 4 years onto their life. So, even if you're an older person and you've been smoking for many years, it's never too late to quit, and it can significantly improve your lifespan. Now, I want to take a moment to mention that there are medications and therapies out there that can help you quit smoking, and I highly recommend that you reach out to your doctor if you need assistance in quitting smoking. They may recommend things like nicotine replacement therapy, prescription medications, or even acupuncture. There's also support groups out there that can help you quit smoking. So, please reach out to your local health department or look online for support groups in your area. There are tons of resources out there to help you quit smoking, and there is no shame in asking for help. In fact, I think it's commendable that you're trying to quit smoking. It's not easy. I know a lot of people that have tried to quit multiple times before they finally quit for good. So, don't feel bad if you slip up and have a cigarette. Just pick yourself back up and dust yourself off and keep moving forward. All right, so what happens when you taper off over time versus going cold turkey? Well, generally speaking, you're going to experience all the same benefits that we mentioned in this video, regardless of whether you taper off or go cold turkey. However, there is some evidence that shows that people who taper off are more likely to stave off cigarettes longer term versus people who go cold turkey. And that's simply because when you taper off, you're slowly reducing the amount of nicotine you're getting, which reduces the severity of the withdrawal symptoms. And as we talked about earlier, one of the biggest reasons why people relapse is because they just don't have the energy to cope with day-to-day life without the nicotine boost. So, by tapering off, you can more gradually adjust to not having that nicotine boost, and you're less likely to relapse. However, everyone is different. So, what works for one person may not work for another. So, ultimately, it's up to you how you choose to quit smoking. And I would love to hear your story. Have you ever smoked? Did you ever quit? If so, how did you do it? Did you go cold turkey or did you taper off? I would love to hear your story. Please leave it down in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and consider sharing it with a friend. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. It's absolutely free. But when you do subscribe, you'll get access to my private newsletter, where I share additional tips and recommendations on things like immune-boosting foods, healthy diet, and natural remedies. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.